Hey guys, and welcome to day 9 of the July Scrapathon. So today's guests are going to be the Challenger Stash YouTube Hub that we have going every month. So this time around, the challenge we use for that is also going to be the challenge that we are going to use for the July Scrapathon event. So today's challenge is called Relevant Icons, and we have to use die cut or a sticker or a piece of paper with an icon on it that has nothing to do with the story or the picture. It doesn't have to be extreme like what I did, which is a bit extreme, but it should not be relevant with the photo or the story. So I'll have links to everybody who's participating in the description below. I also have a link to the Facebook group, which you can join to which you have to join if you want to enter for the grand prizes, a $20 gift card from the April Lilli store. And I'll also have a link to the April Lilli store, and you should check them out because they have a great blog with a great design team, and they do awesome things, and they have a nice selection of products too. So yeah, that's that. I feel like I'm forgetting something. Oh, if you don't know what I'm talking about, that's okay. Everything is either, you can find all the information either in my introductory video, which will also be linked below, or in the Facebook group. But basically, okay, no, basically, okay, I'll just say it quickly. So each day we're doing I'm doing a video. It's a process video most of the time with issuing a new challenge, and you can all participate in the challenge with a chance to win the grand prize. But all the details are either in the introductory video or in the Facebook group on the pinned post. So I'm gonna let you watch what I make, and don't forget to check out everybody else's videos. Okay, so I'm starting with a plain piece of white cardstock, and I have pulled out those photos with the snow, so I'm kind of gonna make a sort of winter wonderland kind of thing. Well, it's not really wonderland, but anyway, so I'm using some tumbled glass distress ink, and I'm putting it on some packaging, adding some water, and just doing the packaging technique. And I bring back the pictures sometimes, occasionally, to check how much more paint I need, or I guess ink. So I'm just smushing it everywhere. It's pretty simple and it's really fun, so I would advise you to try it out sometimes. So more paint, and I'm just adding it on the sides, and it practically fills up almost all the page, but once everything is on there, you can barely see it because I have two 4x6 photos there, and then I have paper layers and embellishments. So then I did some splatter, but you're not going to be able to see it either because it is going to get covered up for the most part, but that's okay. And then I'm dabbing it because some of it is more watery than inky, so it wasn't really working, so I'm just dabbing it to make it dry, and you can still see that it was splattered on. And then I pulled out the, what is it called? Heidi Swapp Marquee Love 6x6 paper pad, well, not 6x6, 8.5 by 8.5 inches, because I knew there was this gray paper in there, and I wanted to add a sort of neutral color, or, but not black. I don't know, I wasn't really feeling it. So I tried to use the scraps first before getting before cutting a new piece. And I thought it would look cool to tear the edges because it's, I don't know, it kind of felt woodish. It felt more like an outdoorsy kind of thing to, I don't know, that might sound weird, but it's sort of, you can see the trees and the sort of the woods in the picture, and I don't know, it kind of felt like it will look cool if it was ripped. So anyway, I then pulled in that, so I left my background to dry on the floor, and I'm working on my layers because I was too impatient. So I used that gray paper, and then I found that pink paper, which was really bold, and I thought it would add some nice contrast. And then here is the vintage Bliss 6x6 paper pad, and that's by Simple Stores, and it's pretty old, but I just got it a little less than a year ago, and I've barely used it, so I thought I might find some things in there. And I found these, what are they called? bingo cards that I thought I could use as embellishment on my page. So I just cut out the gray one, and I thought the blue one might make a nice addition as well. So I just cut those out because I was kind of stuck, and I'm not going to add them anywhere now because I want to see the whole thing on paper. And then I found this gorgeous wood grain paper, and I thought it would look perfect with these pictures. Again, sort of following that outdoorsy theme, kind of whatever. And I also, the tones in it, I don't know, just felt it was very realistic. So yeah. Oh, and also the reason why I chose pink for like the accent color is because that chair there that's covered in snow is pink, and you can see some of that poke through. So I felt like the paper was just at the bottom was making the bottom part too heavy, so I needed to do the same thing at the top. So I'm just replicating pieces and ripping and tearing, and I am going to just play around with where I want to add that pink piece. And then I pulled out the pineapple for my relevant icon, because how relevant could a pineapple be on a snowy picture? And I might have took it to a whole new extreme, but I'll talk about that in just a sec. So my paper is now dry. This is the next day. And I just put everything on there to see if I liked it on the blue. And I'm just fooling around with where I want to place it. And I'm sorry it's a bit off camera, but I'm going to put it back in frame, and I already did. And I'm talking in a really hushed tone now. I don't know why, so I'm going to speak louder. Okay. So I decided that the pink was a bit too much, but looking at it now, I think it might have looked nice. But at that point, I decided that I would just go with the sort of neutral colors like the gray and the wood grain. But before I make that final decision, I thought I would pop up my photos with some foam. And that is some foam that I discovered I had a couple months ago. And it's just when we were little, my sister and me, my mother would, we would make puppets with those foam things, as pieces of foam. And we have a full, like, I don't know how many pieces left. So I stole it because it wasn't getting used. And I am using it on layouts now. So I glued down those clusters because I decided that the pink was too much. And I glued them to each other so I could move them around easily, but I didn't actually glue them to the page yet, I think. And now it is, again, I think it was later on I left and came back. But anyway, so I placed that pineapple over by the side. So I'm going to talk to you about the pineapple while I glue these onto the page. So I had a couple of irrelevant, like, weird icons. Like I had watermelon, but that's not really relevant for me because we eat a lot of watermelon here. Anyway, I had donuts and I had a pineapple. And that pineapple piece, I've had it for about 3 years now. No, actually 2 years. And I just love it, but I couldn't use it anywhere. So I thought, I'm going to just use it on this page. You can't get more relevant than winter and summer. So I know it's really to an extreme, and you don't have to go so extreme. Like I could have used donuts on this page and probably would have been so crazy. But I thought, what the heck, I might as well use it. And the gold looked nice, so I am going to use the pineapple on this page. So, but you could do anything, like much simpler things. I don't know, you could use a flower on a boy page, or I don't know, like a coffee cup on, I don't know, but I think you get my point. You don't have to be so extreme as using a pineapple on a snowy page, but don't use like a pineapple on a tropical page because that's not really relevant. So anyway, I am going to talk about layout now. So I wanted to do my title, and I thought these white letters would look nice, so I'm going to try them, but they aren't going to work. I don't know, it just felt a bit too big and too distracting, and I just put one letter on there and I got rid of it because I didn't like how it looked. And those are the the rockabye thickers. And then I had these black foam thickers, and these are called Wonder. And I thought maybe the black would look nice, but it was too black. So I'm not going to use either of those thickers. And instead, I'm just going to use these Tim Holtz Tile Alphas, which were a bit smaller than I wanted my title to be, but it was a lot better than the thicker option. So I'm not sure where I want to place the title yet with those tile alphas, so I'm going to start some embellishing. So I was looking for gold things to put in another 2 clusters because I had the gold pineapple going on, but I needed gold elsewhere, so I found that gold label, and then I didn't like the circle one, so I'm going to use this rectangular one, and those were both from from an IKEA sticker book. Like, it doesn't have a name or anything, so I don't know. And then I decided I was going to put my title up there, and I just put 1 letter down, and I didn't like it, so I'm going to instead move it over to where the pineapple is, and I'm just gonna write snowfall. It's not like I didn't want to do a crazy title for this one. And obviously where I live, it's really hot, so there's no snow. There might be some in the mountains occasionally, but you will never see snow like that. But my grandparents live in Wisconsin, and they get a lot of snow. So I was feeling like scrapbooking sort of like a wintry page one day, so I asked her to email me some snowy pictures, and these are from quite a few years ago. I think maybe 2. It's at least 2 years old. It might even be 3-year-old pictures, but I finally got around to scrapbooking them. So yeah, and then I was playing around with where I wanted to add those bingo cards, and I really liked the blue, and so I placed the 1 bingo card over there. And then I found this other bingo card that just said remember, and it had a bit of blue, but it was mostly white, and I was trying to incorporate it at the top there, but the full thing didn't look good, so I just cut it off and tucked it in behind the layers. And then on the pineapple, I added some foam because it was going to overlap the pictures, which were on foam. So in order to glue the pineapple down, I had to add foam on only half of it, and the other half would be stuck on the photo, which already had foam. I think that made sense. Yeah, so now I wanted to add another cluster of embellishment because it was looking a bit blah, but I just couldn't find the right place. So I'm going to stick that bingo card down, but as soon as I do, I'm going to pull it back up because I felt like it just extended the cluster, like the overall cluster, too much, and I didn't like it. So instead, I'm going to cut it down just like I did at the top, and add that the top part that said together, I think, at the bottom where under the title. And I mean that together doesn't really have anything to do with this page, but I like the color, so I just stuck it there. So I guess you could kind of say that's irrelevant, but it's not really. I do that all the time. And then I wanted to bring in the black element from the title, so I pulled out these Tim Holtz chit chat words and added one at the top, and I tried to add one at the bottom, but that wasn't working, so I took the one at the top off as well, but in a bit after I played around with it. So I decided I didn't like that, and off it goes. The real problem with that cluster up there was that gold label. It just, I don't know, it didn't look right. So I got rid of it, and it went into the trash bin because those stickers are really thin, and once you glue them down somewhere, when you pull them up, they get all crinkled. So I ended up throwing that out, but that's okay. So then I was trying to figure out a third cluster, and I'm pulling out that diamond, and I liked where I placed it right there, but I didn't like that it was the diamond. So I was meant to find something else to place in that little spot and create a cluster. So I'm going through some chipboard sets, and those are both from me and my big ideas. And then that one is the desktop from Becky Higgins, and then this is inspired by Becky Higgins. And this one has some of those blue shades that match the background that I did. So I'm flipping back and forth between those 2 pieces, and I'm going to choose the C'est la vie piece because it's just smaller, and I thought it looked better. Now it does look a bit out of place, but I'm going to add some more things, and it's going to look a bit better on the page. So one of those things is enameled dots. So these are by Webster's Pages, and they're either from the #happy pack or the Dream in Color, because I think I mixed them up at some point. So they're Webster's Pages for sure though. And then here I bring back some of those words because, again, I wanted to have that black element, and I finally figured out how to make them work in the clusters. And I also added a little silver rhinestone because, I don't know, silver reminds me of winter. I thought it looked good on the page. So I'm adding the foam on half of that chipboard piece, again for the same concept as the pineapple, because it's going to overlap the already foam pictures. So the part that's not going to be on the pictures has to have foam under it so it can stick onto the page. Okay, so that's that. And then I just saw this gold pen laying around, and I thought that's how I could bring gold into these other clusters. And I just drew some doodly stars in both of the clusters that you'll see better in a bit once I reglue that piece. So I put 2 in each of the clusters that didn't have any gold, and then I also put 1 down by the pineapple because I wanted that star element to be repeated. And then I did my journaling in this black pen, and this is a Stellar pigment liner with a 0.3 tip. And it's not really journaling, it's just how grandma's house gets a lot of snow. And then I felt like I needed to add that journaling pen somewhere, so I thought I'd just doodle some stars with that pen. And I kind of thought that I could maybe shade the gold stars, but that didn't work, so I had to overlap a couple of the gold stars. But I liked how that ended up looking. And now I decide that I'm going to ink the page with the same distress ink that I used for the background, and that's going to complete my layout. So here are some close-ups. Now, don't forget to check out all the other lovely ladies' videos as part of the Challenger Stash YouTube hop, and also join the Facebook group for the July Scrapathon, so you can enter to participate enter for a chance to win the grand prize. And check out the April Lilli store because she has a great store and she has an awesome design team that create these beautiful projects on the blog, so go check that out. So thanks for watching and see you tomorrow.